Crime Fighter, the searchlight on crime and criminality. Crime Fighters, promoting security consciousness.
I feel very sad
because it's just inhuman.
I feel very bad because there are school students who like me.
If I was kidnapped like them, I wouldn't be very happy because I will see some of my mates going to school and I will not go to school. For what?
More than a month after the abduction of over 200 secondary school girls in Chibok, Borno State, the federal government says it has no clue on their whereabouts. But the cry for their safe return by fellow citizens has resonated across the globe. Reactions have been unprecedented. Street protests, intense press spotlight, and a flood of social media posts with the hashtag Bring Back Our Girls have helped to stir the conscience of the world. From North America to Europe, Asia and other remote corners of the world, the international community has been galvanized and it has responded with determination to assist in bringing the girls home. But the abductions has also raised questions on the capacity of the Nigerian government to protect its people, particularly the girl child. In today's episode of Crime Fighters, we look closely at the Chibok abductions and the seemingly intractable battle against terrorism in our country. Are we winning or losing the battle? How do we enhance national security? And does the international involvement mark a turning point in the fight against terrorism?
Crime Fighters, the #1 security program on television.
In a recent episode of Crime Fighters, we highlighted the increasing level of violent crimes against children in the country. From child trafficking to the production of babies en masse in the so-called baby factories, and of course, the age-long problem of domestic violence, it all persists. Neither has the frenzy of ritual killings abated, majorly targeting the child.
It troubles my heart and it also troubles this country that we are still not finding our feet where our children should be. Okay, we believe that children must be given the best protection, as to secure their destiny for the destiny of the nation.
In the said episode, we called public attention to these despicable acts and urged governments to strongly intervene and protect the Nigerian child. The Chibok abductions have brought the issues once again to the front burner, albeit on a different scale and dimension. Indeed, the violent attacks against schools and pupils have been a trademark of the terror set Boko Haram. Many incidents have been recorded in the past, some targeting educational establishments including primary, secondary and tertiary institutions. However, partly due to its sheer scale, the Chibok kidnappings caught global attention. While the evil act is now a grim reality, many questions still beg for answers. Was the government's response adequate and timely?
I don't think so, because when that incident happened immediately, they were supposed to have detailed security and intelligence agencies, to this Sambisa forest, then to all these neighboring West African countries, because there is a limit to which they can move. They didn't come with helicopter. They came with trucks and they loaded them inside. So if they had taken prompt action, to detail security officers and law enforcement agencies to the Sambisa forest and all these neighboring countries like Chad and Cameroon, you know, they might have been able, you know, to apprehend these people and save these girls.
I do not believe it was timely, because when there's kidnapping, it's a matter of minutes. Because I recall what happened to me. So once it was heard that these girls had been kidnapped, there was supposed to be immediate movement to go out and rescue these girls.
Their response was not so fast, and even apart from not being fast, it's not effective, because even the soldiers they are sending to those places, the soldiers are not well equipped. The Boko Haram themselves, they have more firepowers than the Nigerian army.
What are the social, economic and political consequences of these and other violent abductions of students?
The whole issue is very disturbing. I can imagine the parents losing their children for almost a month now. The agony they will be going through, the emotional disturbance, and so on and so forth. Their parents will be economically, they won't be able to go to their work. The economic activity there will be disturbed. And the nationwide, it appears insecurity and instability is setting in.
Nigerian children have also reacted to the incident.
I feel very sad because they are girls. I'm also a girl, so I'll know how they feel. I don't really know what to say, but it's not a kind of thing that is good. And those girls will have gone through a lot.
I feel bad because I'm also a girl and they are my mates. Now if I was kidnapped like them, I won't be very happy because I will see some of my mates going to school and I will not go to school. For what? I want government to bring back the girls, because some of them will be presidents, governors, people that will make this country a great nation. So I'm pleading for the governors to bring back our girls.
This country is no longer safe for we girls, because most girls are suffering under this Boko Haram situation.
Mama even warned me about strangers. If they like ask for help, I shouldn't answer them. So since then I've been scared. Anyone that wants to ask me of any help or something, I'll just snub the person because of the kidnapping of the girls.
The dramatic manner in which the students were abducted have been variously narrated in the media by a few lucky escapees. A report by the global human rights agency Amnesty International revealed that the Nigerian army had 4 hours notice of the attack but did little to prevent it. An indictment that has since been refuted by the military. So why was the attack and subsequent abduction of the girls such an easy run for the insurgents? Does the Nigerian army and other security agencies have the logistical capacity and intelligence to truly combat this chameleonic and brutish organ Boko Haram?
Security challenges that have cropped up in this country in the last 1 or 2 years have exposed the security forces as a body that is lacking in finance. That is not just lacking in finance, also lacking in hierarchy, lacking in organization to deal with this type of security challenges that have cropped up. For avoidance of doubt, the Nigerian security forces, if you like, the Nigerian army, the Nigerian navy, the Nigerian police, the Nigerian air force, without being immodest, just fought one civil war. And from fighting of that Nigerian civil war from 1967 to 1970, they were just sitting down in the offices. No actual security challenges cropped up any longer until what we now find ourselves. So there is need, from what I'm telling you now, for a general reorientation of the Nigerian security forces to be able to deal with this type of challenge that has cropped up.
The problem is not with the level of the training of our men. Our men are well trained. But the question is, do they get the right equipment? Do they get the right motivation? Do they get the right direction? Those are the basic problems which looks very, very disturbing.
The military are there, they are combatants, period of war. They come to, to action. But you see, we are facing a peculiar war. These are people you can't identify. These are people that are imaginary. These are people that you cannot say this is where they are coming from, this is where they are going. You know, they study the situation, they strike. This so-called Bono, they have detailed so many military there, so many, all these police mobile force and so on. You know, but the situation is that what can you do in a situation where even the so-called insurgents have the backing of the military in a way? There was an attack that happened recently, and one of the members of these insurgents was apprehended to be one of the serving military personnel in Nigeria here. You know, somebody saw him, apprehended him, and identified him as a member of the armed forces of Nigeria, working for the opposition, working for the insurgents. So the problem is this: it is not easy because they have insiders. They have those people who are supplying them with ammunition, supplying them with information, supplying them with whatever they need. So if the Nigerian army has decided that, okay, these people, they have security intelligence report that they are going to strike in Adamawa, somewhere, a village in Adamawa tomorrow, one of the military men and officers will leak the report to them, and they will thwart that effort. They will change their striking point. So that is the problem. The military itself, are we sure? Are we sure that there is unity? Are we sure that we can, you know, rely on them for any effective performance? Because it has already, you know, it has already been, they have entered, they have penetrated the military, and you cannot be too sure of anything again. And that is the problem. It's not as if the military is really weak, but the military in this sense is incapacitated.
While the quest to free the Chibok girls has gripped global attention, the terrorists have continued their campaign of bloodshed. 2 other bombing incidents occurred in Yanya, a suburb of Abuja.
I was coming from the other end, heading to the town because I live in Kaduna Estate. And then after the bridge, I was looking at this side, reminiscing of what happened the other time, not knowing that the same thing will happen immediately. In fact, as I just, my motor just was here, I just had one. Before you knew it, all over my body, I could see blood everywhere. Everything, my motor shattered, all the door closed, nowhere to go out. So, luckily for me, one of the glasses were open. I jumped out of the motor. I had to jump out of the motor, looking at my head everywhere, blood. I ran and called them for help. They came to me, used a cloth to cover my head, lay me on the ground. They called the police. Honestly, God will bless Nigerian police. They try so much.
The police and the DSS say they have made significant progress in their investigation. And this was further buttressed with a parade of 5 persons arrested in connection with the incident. The long arm of the law appears to have caught up with some of the culprits involved in the attack. The 5 persons are Ahmed Rufai Abubakar, Muhammad Sani Ishaq, Yehu Seidu, Adamu Yusuf, Anas Isa.
In the morning of 14th April 2014, Rufai Abubakar Siga moved the explosive-laden vehicle to the position where he detonated the explosives. Muhammad Sani Ishaq, who took part with Rufai Abubakar Siga in positioning the explosive-laden vehicles that exploded at the Nyanya Park. 2
others were declared wanted: Abubakar Siga and Aminu Sadiq Oguche, a British citizen and Nigerian army deserter. Oguche was said to have been earlier arrested by the DSS, but was eventually released following pressure by the human rights community on the supposed violation of Oguche fundamental rights. This spotlights once again the contentious issue of arrest and detention of suspected terrorists. If Oguche was indeed arrested and subsequently released,
The sum of 25 million naira is hereby announced as reward for anybody with useful information on their whereabouts.
However, news updates indicate that Ogbuche has since been apprehended in Sudan. What transpired in the case of Ahmed Rufai Abubakar appears even more confounding. Is this suspect the same individual arrested by security forces 3 years ago in Maiduguri? Or is he a look-alike? In 2011, crime fighters interviewed this suspect along with others earlier arrested and paraded by the police. Is it the same man?
People come annoyed, going upside down, doing things badly, like going with stones, storing there, burning there and there. So if we get any abuse by any person or government, so we use writing or preaching to attack that. So from that effort, I think Mama Yusuf raised his alarm just to be different.
Was he released without prosecution? Questions and more questions. The abductions has drawn international outrage. US First Lady Michelle Obama said the mass kidnap of schoolgirls is part of a wider threat and intimidation facing girls around the world, noting that she and her husband were outraged and heartbroken over the abduction of the girls. Celebrities across the globe have lent their voices to the Bring Back Our Girls campaign. From music star Sean Combs, aka Puff Daddy, to movie star and UN ambassador Angelina Jolie, to former US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and Malala Yousafzai, have expressed solidarity with the Nigerian girls abducted. Equally, the United States, France, UK, Canada, China and Israel have joined in the rescue mission. But what are the wider implications? And could this be the tipping point in the battle against terrorism?
If we could have done without that, for a sovereign nation as Nigeria, it would have been better. And there are other problems that can arise from it. So, because by doing that, we're submitting our sovereignty to these people. And Nigeria, the big giant of Africa, yes. We go out to help rescue others. We go out for foreign missions. So for us not to have been able to protect ourselves here is a problem. And I don't think it's lack of experts in this country. I think the government does not maybe want to use the experts they have in this country. They would rather use the foreign experts. But by so doing, it creates a problem because you expose your territorial integrity to these people. They get to know everything. Anything they haven't already gotten through their satellite imagery, they're going to get everything. And watch it. With time, they'll start determining who rules this country. But right now, since they've taken so much time in rescuing these girls, they need the international assistance. Why would I say that? Because at this time, we cannot guarantee that these children are still within our borders. If they had moved swiftly, then they would have gotten them while they were within our borders. But at this time, since there's a possibility that the children could be moved to other foreign countries because of our porous borders, we have to work with the international community just because we have taken so much time.
Their intervention is a very welcome development. I think they are here to actually give intelligence, they are here to give support, at least to rescue these children that we're talking about. So it's a welcome development.
Going by the way the Chibok issue started and is unraveling, it seems that our military is incapable of handling the situation. Or there may be an issue really serious wrong with our military. Okay? So for them to come and help is a welcome development. All we want is our children. We want our daughters back in whatever form, whatever format.
After that, we will now discuss whether their military aid is necessary or not necessary. But if there anything anybody can do to help bring the children back, let us bring the children back first. Because for one, I don't support American aid anywhere. It has never worked anywhere. Libya is still on fire today. Iraq is still on fire today. Sudan is still on fire today. I've never seen where America went and they came back successfully. Afghanistan is still on fire today. Ukraine is joining them too. They are all helping them. So you see, their help is always, I look at it with a pinch of salt. It's not something that I cherish all that, because they have their own interests to protect. And you know, Nigeria has the largest economy in Africa today. So I want the government to be watchful.
It denigrates our sovereignty. Nigeria is a sovereign state. And when you are a sovereign, it is believed that you can do whatever you want to do by yourself. You are not a colony. You have gained independence. You believe that you are capable of maintaining the security and protecting the citizens in that country.
And hence, I think their assistance are welcomed. Members of the United Nations, which Nigeria is an active member, are coming out to collaborate with Nigerian government to ensure that that situation is arrested, that the terrorists are checked. I know those are the efforts being made.
The terror group has released videos online calling on governments to engage in a prisoner swap. Should the Nigerian government batter the prisoners for the girls?
I don't think the federal government should negotiate, because the prisoners you want for exchange are people who has been unleashing mayhem on the populace. You now release them again and will still be in the same danger. So the federal government, in alliance with other foreign nations, should do everything possible to rescue the girls unconditionally.
Well, I wouldn't say how we have to negotiate with an illegality. They are perpetuating a crime. They are the ones that have committed a crime, and they ought to face the music. Then the issue of exchange does not arise in this circumstance. There's nothing to exchange for. All what is important, the people that have been brought to come and help Nigerian soldiers to deal with the situation on ground should swim into action. So that's what I'm saying.
As the world prays and waits for the successful rescue of the girls and reuniting them with their families, governments must begin to also consider what steps it must take towards helping them to overcome the traumatic experience. No doubt, the war on terror has taken its toll on the country, and it is non-negotiable that Nigeria wins the fight. But perhaps victory transcends a military upset over the enemy. To vanquish Boko Haram may require much more than a military victory. The nation must reflect and engage in a soul search towards understanding how and where it has missed its steps and what must be done to build a peaceful and secure future for the country. All said and done, what the Nigerian child has to say is,
Bring back our girls! Crime Fighters, the #1 security program on television.